Hello, welcome to Smileys. Tonight we're discussing chapters 11 and 12 of Forge of Darkness by Steven Erikson. This is the summary episode, and thus spoilers are up to chapters 11 and 12, including we're going to spoil these chapters even before we start, just because we haven't said that before. We assume that you've read the chapter before you watch this episode, so the summary itself has spoiler for the entire chapter, not, in sections. And for the Maz and Book of the Fallen, and for the Maz and Empire, where applicable. With that aside, I'm joined by Maura. Hello, Maura.
Hi, Lee. How are you?
I'm good. Good. You?
I'm okay. So, can I just say, if at all people are doing summaries section by section, I don't expect anyone to read one section, then log into YouTube, watch that section, and then go back. That's not the way.
We're just covering our bases here.
No, I'm just saying that most people tend to do section by section, but because Erikson doesn't write that way. All chapters have this loop, so it's nice to consider them as a whole, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yep. And we'll get to that in this episode as well, because yeah.
We might as well get into it now.
Be my guest.
So 11 and 12 are quite small chapters compared to last time, but full they're jam packed, and we did not enjoy reading them. And
yeah, not at all. I hated it. No, you know how 10 was the breather episode where it was scanned little symbolism and just just no, none of that shit here. This is just only symbolism. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's this symbolism or if it's just the story, and we're not able to get it, or I'm not able to get it because I don't remember Fall of Light now. So all that aside, let's just see what the words say, right? Okay, chapter 11. We're back to Arathan. Oh, sorry?
No, go on.
Okay. Chapter 11. Arathan is gloomy and depressed, as usual, and they're riding through these abandoned Azathanite dwellings. We see that these dwellings are built haphazardly and, with no correlation to one another, and they are mostly in ruins. And, some of them, instead of doors, they have this portals-like thing, and to stare at them makes Arathan feel somewhat giddy or something. And the general vibe there is it's a very unwelcoming place, so not many people venture there. And we also see that some of these houses are actually occupied. There are shadowy figures standing here and there, and somehow Draconis takes them all to one particularly aloof house, which has been decorated with these rings or circles of some patterns of circles. Okay, and the air there seems very dead and cold. As they're going, Arathan just has normal, regular thoughts, and Draconis tells them that your thoughts are not your own. Obviously, this hasn't affected Arathan because he's. By now we know. Yeah. Whereas Raskan obviously has felt something. So he asks if this is sorcery. What he's feeling there is sorcery. And Arathan just says that it feels like we have been invited here, and the Jelek no longer raid these places because there's nothing of value left. And in that particular house, there's a thin figure waiting for them. And somehow at that spot, Arathan feels nothing is accidental. This scene is perfectly rendered. Takes us back to the prelude. I'm not sure why. So, and then Draconis sends away the others to make camp at a hillside, and tells Arathan, if you stand close to me, you'll be able to breathe. And then they both walk up to the Azathanite. This guy has not taken a name, so we just call him Old Man, though he looks very young. Yeah. And the air seems very strange to Arathan until he goes near Draconis and then he's able to breathe. It's almost like space, like vacuum, because it's cold and dead and it feels like vacuum. And he even says that if you move away, your blood will boil and you'll be crushed and all that. It's basically his aspect is space, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up actually. That's a good point. Yeah. That's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. So anyway, and then Draconis explains that the Azathanite are actually gods in waiting. They're waiting for worshippers. And they're free and wild horses. And sometimes they never see people, but still they maintain a fear of people. That's the way I understood it. I could be wrong. So anyway, to normal horses. Yeah, tell me.
Um,
I shared that quote and nobody answered me, so I don't know
yeah,
what
yeah,
it
yeah,
meant.
yeah.
Okay, keep
Hmm.
looking up. So to horses, people are like gods, like cruel gods. And even though you beat it and all that, and you treat it badly also, what does the horse earn? Like all life living things?
For the grace of being,
Yeah,
which is
they just want.
just this is
Yeah.
like a notion that's been repeated like most philosophy from ancient times. So I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah, this is like from the
Hmm.
first philosophy that could be called reasonably philosophy from like the 7th century BC in Greece, or like even before that in India or China. This has been it. So
Okay.
Draconis just like summarized a few thousand years of philosophy into one sentence.
Yeah, but let's not praise him
One
because
hand.
he still, exactly. Yeah. So Arathan wants to know what God is going to break us. Like, like you break a horse, he wonders if gods are there to break people. And he thinks if gods set terrible ordeals to their children so that they become
Hmm.
helpless and surrender to them. And the next step is he wonders if this is what Mother Dark is going to do to the Teist. Valid. It's a valid fear. No, anyway, this old man guy, he also has the same decorations like that house. He has ring tattoos. And then he welcomes Draconis saying, "We haven't met since the Tel Akai disavowal." Any idea what that could mean? Because I'm clueless. I have no idea what the. Anyway, if it comes up, we'll just remember this.
I'm going to guess it has to do because okay, I'm not sure if this. I'm gonna keep quiet for
Keep
spoilers,
it
but
for
I think it has to
discussion.
do with.
Yeah,
It
keep it
definitely has
for.
to do with the Athenai. But yeah, I don't
Okay.
remember if it's been discussed so far.
Right. Okay. And then Draconis says, "I don't want to talk about time." And he's expecting a gift apparently, and he's being told that the gift is in the next village. And people don't like it, and they're not like angry with him, they just weep and they're asking for redressal. And also Oldman says that he's not going to risk a prophecy in Draconis' presence because apparently that's bad. And then he warns him that they are desperate, and in their desperation they have reached into the vitr for healing. Who is they? Two people, Ardata and the sister of dreams. Yeah. And then the old man says, I'm waiting for a child or something. And then he walks away. And as he's walking away, he drops a bombshell. What does he do? He tells him
He
that,
tells that High King has built a ship,
yeah. And
and
Draconis
Draconis just
takes.
like pops a vein.
I mean, the news affects him so much that Arathan feels like he's being physically pushed away. So his he doesn't handle good news well apparently. I mean, sorry, he doesn't handle bad news well. Yeah,
He's never good with displeasing news.
true, true. I mean, he's very self-deprecating, don't you think so? Drac, he's saying, "I'm a careless father. I'm this. I should have known this." He's.
Is the truth self-deprecating? I guess so.
I mean, he has that self-awareness to know that he's.
He does. He does.
Yeah. But what's the point? What's the point in knowing and not doing anything about it? Right. So now Rint and the others have found this pond, which is lined with stones, and there is a statue in the middle, a stone statue, which is like sunk up to its thighs or something. It looks very grotesque, and it looks like it's twisted in pain, and it's like roughly hacked, except for the face. The face is carved perfectly. By now, we know that it is called Surrender, and it was done by Caladan, and it has to be a Telakai figure because of all the pain. See, something's going on, and we have no idea what that is. Okay, keep it for spoiler discussion.
I don't know. I really don't
Oh,
know.
you don't know? Sure. Okay.
No idea.
Then, as they're watering their horses and all that, a strange, mysterious lady comes there. A middle-aged, overweight woman. These are just words on the page because I don't know what to make of this lady, right? So she is coming there, and her belly is pale. It's exposed, and there are like deep stretch marks, which could be scars, which could be wounds. And then she tells him that she's worshipped by the dog runners who are able to see her in the fires. And then she complains that they feed her so much that she can barely move. Then she reaches into one of her scars, pulls out a small clay doll, and throws it at Ferren, right? And whatever wound scar she has reached into, that bleeds blood for some time and then it closes up by itself. And Rind sees this figurine which Ferran has picked up. It looks like this. We have seen this in like old, like Indus Valley civilization diggings and all that, right? Like a
Hmm.
bulbous female, there are just breasts and a huge tummy and like thick
Since you
thighs.
mentioned there is one of the oldest civilizations in Greece was in the Cycladic Islands, dated back to like
Uh-huh.
3300 BC. And these kinds of figurines are very omnipresent in them. They're like these like minimalist art of marble, usually not clay, but they generally depict these sorts of forms. Female forms with over exaggerated like
It's fertility, yeah.
features. It's for yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's I think it's quite universal, right? So that's
We'll
what she
probably
has.
leave links if we remember.
As if we might as well
Remember,
leave pictures
remind
on
me to leave
Twitter.
a link or
There's no
that.
point in leaving links here, yeah. So anyway, she then walks up to Raskan, which, yeah, she goes up to him and she tells him stuff like, "Do you want to feel my weight on you?" and the wetness of her gift and all that. And Raskan doesn't know what to say. And then she says she has enough power to make him kneel. She can show him his lust and how much it shames him. Thank God, for once, Draconis does something nice. He comes and shouts, "Enough." And then she says, "I'm just amusing myself." He tells her, "Be gone." But unfortunately, Raskan goes away. She stays. And then they both talk for some time. Draconis tells Olaratil, "You can quest me." And she says that, "Yeah, yeah, I can see that night rides your breath now. And you're a fool for whatever you're doing. Are you doing this really for love or is it ambition?" That's what she asks. And as she's talking, she does some magics. And the clay doll with Ferren, it cracks and bursts open. It hurts her face, right? And then she says, yeah, she gives a confirmatory pregnancy test. She says, "Yes, you're pregnant." She even does a gender analysis. She tells her it's a girl. And she says the hue of her blood is most unusual. Yeah, we know why by now. Then Draconis steps closer and warns Olarathil to stop. And then she says, "You look into the flames too long and I'll be able to steal your soul and all that." And then she calls him something very interesting. She calls him the suzerain of night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he keeps threatening her, "Better you go back," or something. And then she has some juicy gossip for him. What's the juicy gossip? That
Karish is
Karish has
dead.
been. That no,
Okay,
don't
yeah,
make it
yeah.
serious. Right, okay, so she says that some Azathanai are have probably murdered Hood's mate
Yeah, and
Karish,
then she like goes
and
and like Ineli's like they were enticed. It wasn't Jack or the dog. No, they killed Jack with the fucking idiots.
so yeah, she says this is when we find out that like different Azathanai have like adopted different races. So
Mm-hmm.
the Tais are with Drac, the dog runners are with Olar, and the Tellakai obviously I'm guessing it's prison farm, and the Jek and Jelek, as far as I know, we don't know. Do we know? I don't think we know.
No, maybe later, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Right. And the Jagut have no one, right? I don't think they have any Azathanai. They might have.
We'll see.
It's
That's the spoiler. I don't remember.
okay. Okay, right. So anyway, Rint has been following this conversation, and he sees that Arathan has been looking only at Ferren because nobody has bothered to tell him that she's pregnant, and this is how he finds out. So he's been staring at her, and for some reason, Rakonus says very formally to Olarathil, "Come to my fires." And very
Mm-hmm.
formally, she accepts that I wouldn't have come without invitation, and she calls herself a cruel goddess, which is like
Oh
the
shit.
understatement of the year. And then she complains that the dog runners have been feeding me so much, they yearn so much, and they pray so much, and all that. And then Draconus comforts her by saying that don't blame them for your appetites. And then he asks, "What is Hood up to? What's he going to do?" And then they say that he is so angry that he might, to stop him from waging a war, they have chained him up in the Lord of Hate's tower. By this time, Ferran is almost fainted because of the blood loss. Then Rint helps her. And Draconus tells Arathan to go and help Raskan. Arathan is like, "What? What?" And he's just standing
Me?
there shocked.
Me?
And then just to make him do some work, he tells him, "I meet your eyes. You're the son of Draconus. Go and help Raskan." This is Ferran is so amazing when she thinks of this. Like, obviously he's going to acknowledge him, But first he has to deliver like 100 wounds first.
200 times, yeah.
Yeah. So then Arathan finds Raskan. He is crumpled against a wall and he doesn't have any wish to return to the camp. And then Arathan says, now I can command you. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. And then he says, but he's nice about it. He says that you'd rather be alone and whatever Ola did to you has been something cruel, but there's no choice. Our Lord commands. And then Raskan keeps ranting, keeps ranting. He says things like, this is supposed to be Ivis's job. And he sees that Draconis and Ola Rithil have known each other for a very, very long time. And then he says he sees Azathanai blood, which needs chaining, and Draconis has chained it. And it's only his will which has held back Arathan and made him normal looking to their eyes. And that's why during that whole meeting, Ola Rithil never once looked at Arathan. Right? Then as they start coming back and he keeps ranting some more, that he says things like, I don't have any sordid dreams. What I wanted was nothing immoral. There's no need to be disgusted. And this, I believe, everyone thinks this is pedophilia, right? Raskan was pedophile. I mean, I don't see any other interpretation unless it is something like incest or something. I don't know.
That's the other theory.
It's something sordid. Yeah.
Yeah, the interpretation I've had is like he's a beta, which is just must everyone be fucked up with this realm? Like,
yeah.
Can we not have someone who is like redeemable, please?
I think we have Renek or Orfantil.
Yeah, the kids.
Or Grip Gallas. Hishtula. Okay, I
guess.
think we're spoiling stuff. Oh, we're spoiling stuff. Okay, then Arathan, meanwhile, he's wondering why he was brought all the way out here for his father to finally acknowledge him. And then he yells sense into Raskan. He tells him, you're a gate sergeant, you're wearing my father's moccasins and things like that. Like, he yells common sense back to him. And then he continues to think about this child. That somehow they have made a child. Like, who knows how did this happen? Yeah. I told you this before.
Sex education is lacking a little bit.
Not Draconis, the whole text. I'll just blame the whole thing. Because Drac had a tutor. What did the tutor teach him? Weakness and pure desire and impure desire.
Yeah, Sagander does not get any pipe, so it's not really surprising that he doesn't teach Arathan about sex ed.
Right, yeah. I mean, that should be the benchmark, whether you teach children or not.
Like, okay, Draconis is a plumber. Sagander is just like worthless. Like, if anyone should teach the boy about these things, Draconis.
I mean, that's what he did. He taught him by hiring this lady.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Okay. Stop. Now, where are we? Now he knows that this child has been made, and now Ferren needs nothing more from him. And this is when he remembers Sagander's teaching, that what is given for free comes back wounded. So, have you ever, let anyone borrow your Gardens of the Moon book or something? I usually let it out and then it comes back unread, unopened. So that's what, anything given for free has no value. And then he thinks back to that nameless Azathanai called Old Man. And this is what he thinks he was trying to warn Draconis. And being the Chad, he doesn't listen, obviously. So by now, yeah, I mean, do Chads listen? I think that's still, if at all Nif or Sparty start listening to us, we're going to have fun. We're going to have words. So back here, Ferren's wound needs stitches. Can we spoil chapter 12 here? Because I just wanted to point out one small thing. That
yes,
she also has the same type of facial wound. Renar.
Yes.
Both the guys, both their lovers are wounded and sent away at the same time. Drac pushes her away. Orusander just takes her. Sorry.
Can we pause? Yeah, just pause.
Okay, we're back. So, no, I was just trying to see the similarities between the two. They have from this point onwards, I think they start diverging, right? Okay, we'll see that later. And anyway, Rint has stitched it up and it stopped bleeding, but she still feels the blood is flowing like inwards now. She feels some kind of injury for that. And then what is the midwife's advice that she remembers when she was pregnant? That love must lie in the womb. It's a bit I don't like this particular sentiment, but anyway, that's what she's been told, and she really wants to love this child because the seed was given in innocence, but she's been greedy and nothing can satisfy her. And now she feels the child like a curled up fist inside her with blood most unusual, right? Rint thinks that he is that Olar is Arathan's mother, but she's not sure. And when she thinks of this unborn child, she sees her own face, Feren's face, with the bleeding cheek and hate-filled eyes. Then Raskan joins them, and Rin tells him that the witch's touch is going to wear off, don't worry. And then he says her power in the flames is called Telas, familiar name. And even the Jelek know of her. Yeah. So Rin
Hmm.
says that he has felt her touch some time back, but he did not know it at that time. And so there is no virtue in ignorance. It's better to not know. Poor Raskan, who is suffering, says that ignorance is better than what he's going through. So anyway, all of them tell Raskan to just get drunk and go to sleep. And Raskan asks the permission of or the blessing of Lord Arathan. Farron is not even phased by this. She knows this is going to happen. She doesn't even like blink when this guy is called Lord Arathan. So this is happening at the campsite, and somewhere else, Olarathil and Draconis are talking. And he says that he wants to deliver something to Karkanas, and she says, "You make too much out of mere symbols, and nobody's going to understand what you're doing. And you're unmanned by the doe-eyed simpering fool." I love all the different descriptions of Mother Dark we get like each week. Everyone has a new name for her, right? Idealistic romantic woman. I think that's what
Yeah.
um, Emerald was calling her, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, and then he tells her, this is a woman I love, so stop talking
Yeah,
shit
back
about
off.
her.
Bitch.
And then she says, you gave her darkness, and now she doesn't know what to do with it. So what's the point? And he says, no, no, there is wisdom in her indecision. He doesn't call it inaction, he calls it indecision. And then Olar says, no, she is face to face with necessities and she's going to rule with expediency, and he should be afraid of her wisdom. He should not be like proud of it. This expediency comes up again, I think, in chapter 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make a note of it. Yeah. And then she says that there are some Jagut among the dog runners, and I think they're described like this proto tyrants, proto Jagut
Hmm.
tyrants. And then
Hmm.
even Burn dreams of waging war and having vengeance against them. And Olar says that she is going to answer them with fire to save her children. So this whole thing was basically this Olar Ethil's idea to make them undying and become Tilan and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah. We knew that from Book of the Fallen, yeah.
We knew
Though,
that, sure.
it's more so implied that Olar is doing it for less than altruistic purposes than here. Like here it's like, oh, I'm gonna save my children. In the Book of the Fallen, it's more
Okay.
like I'm a power hungry and I want, I want to
She
genocide the
is the
dragon because I
same.
don't like them.
I don't trust a single word she's been saying in this chapter. Not one word. She's so
I
full of
guess.
shit. Yeah. And then she says there is no difference. He tells her that if she does things like this, then there is no difference between her and the jagged tyrants. And and he says you should.
God
Yeah, he
damn.
says, yeah, there is no difference
Okay,
between you
alright.
and those jagged.
One hand. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, God. Nobody's going to get that joke. So, and then he
Not
says,
anymore.
this Feren did not deserve to be hurt like that. And she again replies that I'm a
No, but
cruel
I'm a
goddess.
cruel god. Go fuck yourself. Sorry,
I,
sorry.
I forgot to listen to the audio. I want to listen to Olar's voice and see. I hope it's like full of hatred and makes me like angry to listen. That's what I want.
I don't
Anyway,
remember actually from Below Light, so I don't know.
oh, that's a different narrator, right?
It is, yeah. I don't remember.
But I like Philpott, so Philpott has great voices. He does, he does, he does. He just says
How
Raki
does he
instead of
pronounce?
Ray.
Yeah, okay, yeah. How to
Yeah, that's
pronounce
the
Ray? Okay,
only
yeah, yeah,
thing,
yeah,
but everything else is
yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. If I
His
had to guess,
Arathan,
all sounds Scottish because every assassin I sound Scottish. So
you know what? I can't place accent, so I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
true. That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, let them be Scottish. Who cares? Didn't we have Coltrane talking Indian accent or something? No? Was that
I have
Icarian?
no idea. I've not
One
listened
of them
to
has
any
an Indian accent,
of
is
the
what
books.
I heard.
Yeah, no idea, no idea.
And
I've only
even
listened
that
to
I
like Emma
can't
Gregory.
place.
Yeah.
Who's that?
I've only listened to Emma Gregory, but only
Oh, you
like
listened to
samples,
her?
not the whole thing,
Oh,
just the samples.
okay. Oh, she's good. She performs. She doesn't narrate. So anyway, then Olar asks him about their spawn, and Drac tells him that if we had a fourth child, she would have been named Venom. Right. And then she remembers those children as just three memories of pain. And he says, I'm not going to sleep with you tonight. And she laughs it off like, no, even I didn't want to or something. And then Draconis says the plan is to send them all back. And he and his son will try to meet a lot of hate. And then he will return to Karkanas with Calaris alone through some shortcut. I'm assuming Warren. And then, but which Arathan knows nothing about. Right? This is
Right.
a nice line where he says things like, why do parents give to their children their flaws and not their virtues? And she says, we are all misers
I
with
don't
what.
know, Oler. Why do envy, spite, and malice only have their mother's?
No, it's
No
not so
wonder.
bad as. No, but what she says makes sense, right? Like, we are misers with what we believe we have earned, right?
I mean, she
So,
would say
whatever
that, but
virtues they
also be
have.
spiteful, envious, and malicious. So
No, let's not correlate that saying with who is saying this. Just this line is very nice.
the
That's
line
all.
is very
I don't.
nice, but it's also very hypocritical.
It doesn't make sense to these two characters of all the people to say these lines, but
yeah.
the line is nice. Yeah. And then they're able to see their death. This is a new thing which I didn't know that Azathane can see how they die. But Olar has been keeping it as a surprise. She doesn't want to know. I don't know. She's very spoiler unfriendly, I think. And
I guess.
Dracono says he is going to die so many times and that he's not interested in finding out specifics. He doesn't care. Okay? So, and then
Which
Olar
is
says that,
nuts, by the way.
please
Like,
don't tell me. I
no,
don't
like,
know anything about what that means.
I mean, just
Keep it
think
for
about
spoilers.
it. Like, just okay.
No, this is something we know from the Book of the Fallen about
I mean, he
Draconis
dies
dying many
twice,
times.
right? He dies once from Dragonburn, and then he has to die again. But I don't know, maybe.
Why does he have to die again? As in
He doesn't have
general.
to.
He doesn't have to. That's what. He died once.
But yeah, he died once, and he says, "I'm gonna die so many times. It doesn't matter. I don't need to look because I know I'll die so many times." Like, what the fuck? Who says that?
Okay. Right.
I mean, just think about what that means for a second. You know, that's what I'm saying.
It means he's a dumbass who just wants to talk cool shit. I don't believe these guys. I don't believe
That's
both of
certainly
them.
one way to view Draconis. Yes.
I mean, look at Ola Rethil. I mean, if he's had 3 children with her, what does it say about him? They're not
Good
triplets.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe he's just min-maxing and he's just giving away all his bad qualities to children.
He's what? He's doing what?
He's min-maxing. He's giving all his bad quality to his children. Maybe. Honestly, maybe.
What's that phrase? I've never heard that.
Oh, it's like
What?
you minimize stats and you maximize certain stats. Just like you
Oh,
optimize
okay.
a character. It's usually in like RPGs or stuff like that.
Okay.
So like he's super envious, spiteful, and malicious, but he's also like super strong and capable and intelligent. So he just gives away those traits to like reset the stat. So he's not as spiteful and envious and malicious.
But he still has venom inside him.
He
And
probably
what has
does.
he given? What has he given Arathan then? What did Arathan get from him?
Good question.
Nail biting. Maybe
Probably.
that's how
Like,
he broke his habit.
I think that's like one of the answer. That's one of the questions that like Forge of Darkness poses, right? Because if these three are just dicks, what did Arathan get? Why is Arathan special?
That's because
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I was going to say that's because Arathan is like 100% Azathanai, but the others are also Azathanai.
Supposedly.
They are.
I mean,
What
the
is
Book of the
Olar?
Fallen doesn't say so. Olar, you just said you don't trust Olar.
I don't trust her. True. That is very true.
But yeah, no. They're probably full Azathanai.
Yeah,
so
I'm just going to take that. She's like a dog runner pre goddess or something. She's not Azathanai yet. But I don't know, Azathanai are made or they're created. They're born that way. Questions. We have lots of questions. Let's do the summary.
Yeah.
And then Olar says that you probably see the mother's eyes in Arathan, and it must be hard for you. And then she she does her signature move again. She pulls out another clay doll and says, "This is for Harathan's protection." And then she asks, "What have you named the boy?" As soon as he says it, she has a good laugh. Why? Because Harathan means.
We don't
I
know.
think we know this by now. No,
No, not yet.
not in
It's
Karkanas.
I think no, it's in Karkanas, but it's later.
Right. Okay. Okay. Then Arathan has a weird dream. Yeah, I think you had some things to say about this.
Yeah. So, well, one
Yeah.
of our theories, which apparently more I knew and just didn't share with the class, is that Triss is Arathan's mother. I hadn't thought of it before because I wasn't thinking about it, and then just like, oh yeah, well, I don't see any reason why she wouldn't be. And then more I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's what I thought too. It's just like I didn't see anything. Why didn't you tell me? I felt so hurt.
What? What?
But yeah. Yeah,
I
we
thought it was
collectively
like
believe that
common knowledge.
Triss. Really, I hadn't heard of it before.
You should interact more with the subreddit, Lee.
Probably.
Yeah, you should talk to people, make friends.
Okay, all right. I'm being slandered. Can we continue?
Yeah. And I'll have a drink. Keep saying something.
So yeah, basically we think Triss is Arathan's mother because of the dream connection and how the whole Vitter thing and the water and all that shit.
And his name and the meaning of his
And
name.
his name, which we technically don't know yet. But yeah, there's a lot of weird dreams he's been having, and
Okay, I'll tell
that
you the dream.
points to.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So he has a dream where there is a pool of black water, not plain water, black water. And it's filled with floating corpses of children which still have their umbilical cords, which is attached to their tummy on one side, and the other end is like hacked and shredded. And this is when he wakes up and he sees Draconis just standing there, and he thinks of his drowning episode and wonders if, he thinks about the day ahead, like, we're going to see the Lord of Hate. I have a gift for him. What if it's like too cheap for him or something? And then he knows that Raskan had told him that Olar could be his mother, but Arathan is very sure Olar Ethel is not his mother because he can see Malice's face in Olar Ethel. Like when she was younger, he's able to see. She looks almost like her. And then suddenly Draconis comes to him, gives him his clay doll gift, and tells him, "I'm going to send the rest of them back." This is very nice. He tells him, "Father, don't hurt her." And he asks, "Hurt who?" He says, "Ferren." And Drac extremely unambiguously says, "Don't be foolish, Arathan." And he says, "Please leave them alone." And he just says, "I would do no other." We can trust Draconis, right? 100%. Stand up guy. And then Draconis leaves, and Arathan thinks he feels very proud of himself that he stood up to his father. And he wonders, at what point, when is he going to stop fearing Draconis? And then he also wonders the day when Draconis is going to start fearing him. And then in his mind, as he's holding this clay doll, he hears Solar Ethel's voice telling him that when the love is too much to bear, just throw the doll in the fire. And then he goes back to sleep and his dream continues. Isn't that fun when that happens? And this time he sees that at the pool bottom there is a woman who is sitting there, pulling the babies out of her belly, cutting their cords with her teeth, and pushing them away. The babies are thrashing and drowning. And at the no, these are just words. They don't mean anything. These are just words. Don't think about them. And at the edge of the pool, there are some women coming there. They're reaching into the pool. I think this is how I react to like unpleasant stuff. I just laugh. So they pull the bodies out, stuff it into their bellies, and walk away. All of them are doing that except one lady. When she comes, there are no corpses in front of her. She looks for some time and then she starts singing and walks away. And he knows that she's walking into the sea. What sea? Up to interpretation. And so she does not see the thrashing boy who's like just rising above the ice shards. He's trying to reach a hand out and she doesn't see him. And nearby he sees Draconis sitting on a rock. And I don't know why this seems extremely familiar to me. It feels like I've read this before somewhere. And he's sitting there and cutting ropes into manageable lengths. Is this something familiar? Have you seen this thing before? I don't
Doesn't
know
tell
why
me
it
anything.
seems. Okay, I don't know. So that's what Draconis is doing.
So we're
in
not
his
gonna
dream.
try and interpret this like this is just words on the
No,
page.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
We just
These are
ditching.
just things.
I think the important thing which we get out of this is that it's likely Triss, who is his mother, who doesn't care for him and walks into the victory. So let's leave it there. Now, Raskan, the next day he wakes up with a big hangover because he's drunk like 3 flasks of mead or something. Draconis and his son have both gone, and Rint and Ferren were waiting for him. They say that we can all travel back together for some time at least. And then they tell him to get ready and we'll wait at the village. Ferren keeps her sword loose because if she says Olar, she's going to say hi to that lady. And then she actually says that, I don't know if Azat and I can be killed, but we'll check. So anyway, she's extremely angry and she feels like she has earned the right to fight back. Like everyone has treated her quite badly, right? And so she rides to this pool and she waits there, and there she finds finally we meet Will and Galak back. And seeing them and seeing their happy smiles, her fury is almost gone. Then Rint, actually, we see that the whole night Rint was waiting for Draconis to sleep so that he can go stab him. But obviously, Drac doesn't sleep. And he wonders how some mortal woman like Mother Dark can become a goddess. Like, how can she just rule darkness now? And he recalls that this suzerain title was considered very arrogant by the Taist, but now he knows that it is real, and he actually has this amount of dangerous power with him, and so it's correct that all the High One oppose him. And he remembers, like, I believe this is Hunra or somebody from Urusandra's Legion. They are trying to convince the border swords, but Ren decides that if they come back again, he's going to support them because he doesn't want this consort to have any more power than he already has. And then he also joins his sister, and they're all meeting back at the pool. And they all forgot Raskan, poor Raskan, because this is when Ola Rethil approaches him, and she tells him, "I am not always a cruel goddess." Parenthesis, just
most
most of the time she's a, yeah, God. And then she says stuff like, "I will douse your unhealthy fire, heal you," and he says, "Go away," and then he says, "Please," and he receives this please as an invitation, and whatever, she puts him on his knees, holds his head, and somehow her hands fuse into his brain, and then she says that I can please
no
keep your
fucking
face
idea, just the
neutral.
words on a page. No clue.
keep a poker face. So she says that she can give him pleasure, the kind of pleasure that gives satiety, unlike anything a man can experience, like the swollen bliss of a woman. And she touches through his temples, right? And at some point, all his thinking stops, and then he opens his eyes and he can see only her belly. And then she actually says something like, "Whence you came, Raska," and pushes him inside one of the wounds. He tries to feel her hand and he can't find anything beyond the wrist. And then she says something like, "This is how worship feels. I am your only goddess, and I invite you inside." And she pushes him inside. He remains conscious. He's able to like draw fluid into his lungs, but they the oh gross. The wound closes around his neck, and his body falls off, right? And at the last moment of his consciousness, he touches satiety, and joy fills his being. Whatever the fuck that means. And then once he's dead, she climbs a tree. Do you think those clay figurines are like people she has like consumed like this?
Could
Like each
be.
of those,
Maybe.
or they were just
Or just offerings, right?
offerings
Because
to
we
the
saw
fire. Yeah.
with Sukul and Ransom in the last chapter, how like they make offerings to burn.
They do?
So
They were offerings?
yes, but they weren't like clay figurines. They were like either stones or stuff like that, you know, like more abstracted things, not so much fertility goddess here.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, what does Solar do? Because everything is
She
happening so
thinks.
normally. She does another normal stuff. She climbs a tree and sits there. Like, yeah. One after the other. This chapter should be called Everything Normal, Nothing to See. And she sits there and she waits for the border swords to come back because she wants to see Ferren with the wound on her face. Then the border swords see that Raskan is missing, so they come back and they see only his headless body. Only Ferren is able to see Ola Rethel sitting on the tree. None of the others are able to see her. and then she draws her sword to challenge her, and she actually hits the tree, but the sword like rebounds off her hand and lands at the
By the
spot
way,
where
like
Raskins.
it should be said, this chapter, this particular sequence, like very, very tense with nothing actually really happening. They're just screaming at a tree, and
Yeah,
it's somehow super tense, and I don't know how. How the fuck does he do this?
yeah, we'll ask him. And then Rent holds back Feren and tells the other two to gather Raskan's body. Let's leave. So
Mm-hmm.
slowly we get all the detailed description of them saddling the horse, putting the body down, then tying him up, and searching for the head and not finding the head and all that. And as they're doing this, Feren finally stops struggling. She even bites him, and Rent is reminded of their childhood and all that. And then brother and sister hold each other tight. And Rint knows that from this moment onwards, their lives have been forever doomed. And he sees only murder and blood in the future. Then Ferren also starts gathering things. They start leaving. Her movements are jerky, and he's reminded of the way she was behaving when she was newly widowed. And then Rint sees this freshly bloodied clay doll at his feet. He even hears a soft laugh from the tree and knows that Olar is sitting there. And then he tells the others to leave. This is when Rint became an extreme badass for me. He tells the others to leave because he wants to do something meaningless. And
Meaningless, yeah.
slowly, yeah. And slowly he arranges everything like food and oil and everything and lights a fire. And he even tells her that probably for a creature like you, there is no pain in entering these flames, but my desire should have some power. I desire to
Mm-hmm.
hurt you. I do this wanting to hurt you, Ola Rethil, and I want that to matter. Ultimate badass dialogue. Yeah. And then he writes back and he keeps hearing Olar's screams. And as they leave the village, Feren has a bright, happy smile for all of them. All this is happening, and Draconis and Arathan are far to the west, but Draconis senses something. He tells him that Raskan is dead, that Olar saw it as a mercy. See, who would you trust? Neither of them. He says she probably thought it was a mercy. And then Draconis, what he's actually felt is the rage of the border swords. He says that I was too careless. Big shocker. And that, some sparks from the past refused to die. And he says that he admires the border swords deeply because they struck back at her, not in his name or anything, but just because it's the right thing to do. And now Olar is going to carry some scars. And so he says, Feren is a remarkable woman, and you were right to love her. What does what does the guy say back? Arathan?
I no longer believe in love, which is just
So sad. So sad. Like just the last time we saw him, he was saying things like, I did not know love needs a cause and all that, and
yeah.
so
I'm
sad.
14. This is deep stuff, like
No, no.
yeah.
This is like actual good stuff. This is not I'm 14 and wonderful. And then he says, I don't love her, but maybe she'll be a good mother. And
Mm-hmm.
they keep riding. And that's it. The chapter just ends. It just ends
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden. So you can take over.
Sure.
Was that fun?
So yeah, kind of. Maybe was it?
It was. Yeah. I mean,
It was a
we
chapter
decided
for
to
sure.
ditch half of the symbolism because we can't
Yeah,
make
we
anything
have
out
no
of it.
fucking
So,
idea. Like no
yeah.
idea. Maybe if I read it again, no
Oh,
idea. Not the slightest. No, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know if Full of Light matters because I don't know what the fuck is happening, and I don't know enough about Full of Light to actually tell you, okay, this is what's up. I don't know. I don't know.
okay. This is something like we can come back
But
much in the future.
there's not so much symbolism that requires, forethought and foreknowledge for the next chapter, because the next chapter introduces Renar, and you
Can
don't
you
need to know who
like
this character
control
is.
your? Can you leave? Like, can you like
Yes,
not gush too much?
I'll try.
Because, yeah. Let's see.
So you don't need to know who this character is because she has not appeared to my knowledge before, which
Yeah.
I might get to later, but whatever. So we're starting off in medias res with a Cirque courting a lady in the Blood
Courting.
Sword.
Courting.
I'm
Lady.
being nice. I'm being generous.
She's a child.
But
He's coercing a
no,
child.
no, 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 no. We're viewing this scene from a Cirque's POV. I'm reading down the words on the page.
Fine. Fine.
Yeah.
However you want to
Yeah,
do.
pay attention. Like as more just described, you should probably pay attention to the dynamics of this scene because they shift a lot, and Osirk's a bit of a dense dumbass, so he doesn't exactly understand what's going on. So, our boy is writing to his father with urgent news to deliver per Honral's orders, but for the sake of this village girl, Renard, he will make his father wait. And Renard clues you into that she's a bit more witty than Osiric would have her by saying, you won't make me wait too long. And just okay, well,
What do you mean by that? Osiric is so like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, if I go wrong highlighting every single word on the page, will never finish. So I'm just gonna go like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, Renard has been bathing at the nearby stream and seems to be holding an object, a remembrance stone from the river, in one hand. Osiric doesn't have any recollection of seeing Renard, though she seems to know of his reputation. He spends quite a bit of his time in the tavern to Nerd Store with women fighting to be on his lap. So yeah.
Yes.
As you can see, her attitude and wit is on full display here, even with the mock deference of she keeps
know
using
what?
"me lord" and "my lord." Yes.
I read the chapter once and maybe just skimmed through before we started, and I can remember all her replies because they were so spot on. They were so amazing. Like, women fight to sit on my laps. I'm happy for you, my lord. she's perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, seemingly oblivious to every detail of you won't be wait too long. I'm happy for you. She Osiric invites Renard to ride along with him atop a gelded warhorse, which they gelded because it would fight with his father's horse, and he had grown tired of fighting him. But Renard makes a move, so Osiric offers a spare horse for her to ride. She offers him a veiled comment, which he accepts uncritically, because of course he does. And the two of them set off to ride. Renard is admittedly hesitant because her beloved may see her ride with Osiric, and who knows what he would think, which is valid, and Osiric doesn't care. So the man has garnered quite a reputation for himself with regards to his conquests. And should the village learn of this, yikes. Osiric insists that nothing untoward will occur. And this is where we stare at the camera for like a good 3 seconds. And this is just a courtesy that he's extending to Renard. And seriously, woman, we're in my father's lands. Would you really challenge me? Yes, he would. He did. But yeah, anyway. So Osiric then goes into a tangent about how he and his father are both soldiers and not highborn, and they take their responsibility very seriously and the like. And okay, look, if you're listening to this, or if you're watching this, dear viewer, you probably are keen enough to understand the obvious. But I'm going to say the obvious and say that Osiric and his father live as lords on a keep atop a hill. Renard is a village girl who lost her mother, and her father is dying. Like,
she is a soldier's daughter. She is a real soldier's daughter who died fighting the war.
Not only that, like Osiric goes on a tangent about sacrifices. You
know what? This strategy of his of playing the pity card has worked for him because he's been paying all his prostitutes. He can tell any story that he wants, and they're going to sleep with him. He knows that he thinks that this is how things happen. I mean, he's a dumbass, as you said. He's a dense dumbass.
But yeah, like, we just said Renard's like not only a soldier's daughter, but she is the daughter of a dead hero of the realm that died for Vatha. And so imagine how false and how pretentious this sounds through Renard's ears, but he doesn't say anything. That's what like really nicely written about this whole scene. It's like, no, yeah, I mean, I'm happy for you, my lord.
No, when she's quiet, when she doesn't reply anything, do you know what Osiric thinks? She's silent
listening
means...
to his every word. Yes, I know. I read this chapter like 4 times. I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, after Osiric finishes, she replies that a handful of people in the village disapprove of Osiric's nightly visits, but she will speak on his behalf about the sacrifices that he has to make. And Osirk must indeed find what pleasures he can while he can. So the man makes a comment about Renar's forgiveness, about how he's forgiven once again in her eyes, which is like the only non-idiotic thing he said so far, and then he blows it immediately after by saying, "Oh yeah, well, you may not believe this, but I actually do appreciate your forgiveness." Like, motherfucker, are you serious? Are you serious? So the two ride towards an abandoned farmhouse, and Osirk wishes for a tender touch he hasn't paid for. Something about a
He
life of
doesn't
sacrifice.
wish. Oh God, sorry. It's just those words are so specific and they make so much sense. I just
Yeah.
remembered it. Sorry.
What is the word he uses?
I yearn for a tender touch
Oh,
that I've not
he
paid
yearns for a tender touch, right? Yeah.
for.
Of course he is. Yeah. Anyway, and Renar, perhaps to his surprise, actually humors him, albeit knowing Osirk, he probably doesn't actually feel surprised. But of course, I like fucking idiot. Anyway, so he thinks about some advice from Hunral, which isn't yet completely terrible, or like but it gets worse very quickly. It gets worse. But anyway, and yeah, he witnesses Renar leave her polished stone in the grasses. Sort of absolution of responsibility. I'm no longer like.
No, maybe we'll get to this at the end, but she knows what she's doing. She's a child,
but
all that.
Yeah.
But
no, I'm not saying she doesn't know what she's doing. I'm saying she knows what she's doing so much. Is like, I'm going to set this aside because this is not me. This is not what I would do. But I can't say no to this guy, right?
I mean, she tells him at the end that she stood there to look upon him. She must have been carrying that stone to tempt him more, because
really,
maybe she's a child. I know that, but I'm just saying that.
I don't know about that, but whatever. There is though something to be said about like Farron thinking about like being marked as, oh, look at her, she led with the Lord's son, and no one can like, versus Renar, like, yeah, I fucked that guy. But yeah, anyway, they leave the horses and enter the abandoned farmhouse, and there's a rather disturbing monologue from us. You know how I said it was going to get worse? It got worse. So yeah, he appraises Renar's body in contrast to his. She's somewhat heavy, but in an attractive way compared to his lean, muscular soldier's body, and thinks first and foremost about Renar's boyfriend because he's envious and insecure. And his clumsy ways, and whether or not she'll bury his son like the whores sometimes do. Or if she's taken any herbs or something like. Turns out none of that shit's topical because Renar isn't just a virgin. Renar is an extremely young virgin, like Felicin levels young, like a child level young.
He sort of freaks out as soon as he comes to know that it's been 2 months.
Not sort of. The guy absolutely freaks out. Like,
yeah, that
his pull-out game is usually on point, and then he's like, "Oh fuck, hang on, I just fucked up." By the way, kids, if you're watching this, like this bullshit about pull-out game, no, wear a condom. Thank you very much. So yeah,
the ties have zero clue, so forget about that.
That is true enough. Yeah, but yeah, Renar basically takes over, despite being like young, and her tender words carry a note of sadness, or as Osirk later realizes, pity, which stings Osirk awake. How can she be this young? Just like that dumb. What the fuck? Turns out she's not just witty and smart, far beyond her age. It also has to do with her parentage. Her mother is dead, and her father is Guren. Guren? Is that how you say that?
Guren.
Okay,
doesn't matter. Sure. He's dying. So.
And Osirk rather quickly places together that the person he just lied with is the daughter of a hero of the realm. Awkward. Who died?
Who was involved in the protection? Like, she was with Hunral when Vata was. Yeah. So the assassination attempt was done and all that.
Yeah. So Renar had been away in Yan Monastery, which you may recall are the sons of the mother. I don't know if that's important. I just felt like putting it out there. Presumably for her education. And after all, Renar doubts that Osirk, the wench-lusting, tavern-visiting borderline misogynist prick would have actually seen her around.
Not borderline.
Okay, not borderline. I'm being nice, okay? I'm being nice.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm being nice. So, yeah, her mother died defending her father, upholding the values of honor and duty that she held so dear. And that seems, to have Renara somewhat content. That, okay, at least she died doing what she believed in. Now, Gurren didn't take that so well, but we'll get to that later. But, at least Renara
Maybe she just tells that to Osirk. Yeah? Do you think she believes it? I'm happy she died in service to the realm.
I don't think she's happy she died, but I think if she had to choose the circumstances, I think this is the best thing, because she is very much a principled woman. Renara is.
I think every word she's telling here is exactly what Osirk wants to hear.
I don't. I mean, yes, but not yes, but that doesn't mean she doesn't believe it.
I mean, I'm not even taking her belief into consideration because she is being extremely, lying, extremely dishonest here.
She's not. I mean, kinda. There is a lot of double entendres here that could be viewed many ways, but I don't think she's lying through her teeth entirely. I think she is obviously being sassy and dishonest, but I don't think she's no, I hate you because you killed my mother. I don't think Gurren level of I hate everything Legion.
No, she doesn't have any of her thoughts outside. Everything that she's saying is just what he wants to hear. We don't really get to know what she really thinks about all these things, except that last POV, the last section. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go on. Sorry, I'll just keep interrupting.
Anyhow, yeah. So Renara was made curious about Osirk because of her father's unreasonable view. Okay, that's dishonest. Which, in her view, her father was actually wrong about him, whatever that might mean. She might be honest here, but not the way Osirk thinks. She gives him a kiss, always veiled. What does the kiss pretend? She kisses him, but and then tells him, "Okay, you can leave now."
Yeah. Okay. What are you trying to say?
No, I'm just saying. She is 4 years younger, and she's fucking with his head.
Have you counted 4? Is it 4 years younger? I don't know.
No, she's what, a few months to her night of blood. That's what, a few months to her period.
Don't give a number. Don't
a
give
young
a number.
adult. She's young. She's really young. Is what I'm getting at.
No,
and
but
she
that's
just
actually that sort of stood out to me, the power dynamics that she kisses him and says, "I will wait till you go." Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's completely vague because what does Osirk make of this? I just laid with her. She told me that, oh yeah, by the way, my mother saved your father. I'm okay, here's a guess by. What does he make of this? He doesn't know, and Renner knows this. And then he just walks away. He's confused. He picks up the stone from the grasses, and then he rides up the hillside at a canter. He just kicks the horse into high gear. So, my guy's lost.
Okay.
What?
No, was there some symbolism I missed out? That's all.
About him riding at a canter? No, it's think you're going up a hill.
Yeah.
60 miles an hour with a car. It's you're pissed at something, clearly.
Right. So then?
So yeah, he's right, takes him up a hill, past Tithe Gate, where he orders the familial flag raised, and onto the high gate of the keep. So Osirk's insecurity is really shining through here, because he had entertained the idea of ordering the Legion flag raised, but rejected the notion out of fear of being rejected himself. It seemed to him that he ever chose to do the wrong thing, and now every look leveled upon him, every stern regard, would trigger further insecurity. I feel for him on one hand, on the other hand,
I do,
no.
Yeah. No, I do.
But on the other hand, yeah. To his mind, he has earned nothing, no respect, no right or ability to command, no regard from his father, and this might come up again. For all of Von Rahn's promises, Osirk isn't half the man he believed himself to be. He is informed by the Keep Castellan that his father is in the study, and he ponders, hesitating, whether or not to eat before ascending the study. He evidently deliberates every little detail before hastily reaching a decision from the slightest of pressures, and I'm sure that won't come up again. And so He walks inside to his father's study through the literal ruins of the Legion's past, by the way, because your
Oh, is
Sanders
it?
having
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Like there's like pieces and panels and stuff like that, which like your Sanders staring down. And into the old Legion war room, with the map table now adorned by clay tablets and scrolls, no doubt loot from the Forgotten Wars. Unlike Renard, though, Ur Sanders is in no mood for veiled comment and such, and the first thing he says is that Osirka reeks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, yeah. That was good. Yeah. Yeah.
So the boy informs his father of the situation. He, along with Hunral, Kagamander, and Charinas, had visited the Wardens of Glimmer Fate, bearing news of an invasion from the Vitter. Charinas and Kagamander rode out to inspect the invasion, while Hunral traveled post-haste to Korkanos to deliver the news. Cruel Galen is under threat.
Again.
There is seemingly unfazed. Upon assistance, the Legion must rearm, meet the threat of invasion head on, or Sander like he's disinterested. No invasion comes from the Vitter because nothing comes from the Vitter. The Legion flag will not be raised, and that is final. Cirque offers to stand in his father's stead, but the latter does not believe him to be ready, nor, as Cirque completes, will he ever be ready in his father's eyes. So
sad.
Ricardo does not reply
So
to
sad.
this. Instead, he walks to the window and he gazes upon like the realm. So Sir gets super pissed at this because, again, he's insecure. He even considers murdering his father. But he simply, meekly asks him, what can he do to convince his father that he's ready?
Yeah.
One thought not made in haste, is all his father asks for. And evidently, Sir can't even muster that, because his father has kept him beneath the respect of everyone. And surely, if he is granted command of the Legion, Osiric will have the respect he so yearns for. So this is a bit where Thunder snaps. That he like tears into him in like the most calm tones imaginable. Like, by burden and responsibility alone, you would earn this respect you've heard so much about. So Osiric is a bit too dense to pick up on this, which is kind of a motif with the Legionnaires of just like, or Sanders says something abstract like, "Oh my god, it's losing his mind! Holy shit!" But yeah, he fears for his father's mind. He says that Mother Dark will summon him. Then there will once more be war in Kurul Galen. And so his father completes, where there was weakness in the Cirque will be strength and flexible certainty. No doubts, no humility, no worries, nothing. He will hold the lives of every man, woman, and child in Kurul Galen in his hands. And Urisander pleads with the boy to see reason, to be afraid of the responsibility that this accords him. And oh my god, it's just... On the one hand, it's awful parenting. On the other hand, it's incredible writing.
Well, how do you call that awful parenting? I mean, apart from all the other neglect and all that over the years, but what he is telling him now makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah, but it's not the time nor the place. Like, dude, like there's a war coming. Like, yeah, but why would I give you the Legion? But whatever, good to that. So yeah,
No,
Shirk
it's
doesn't
in the
really
sense
catch on.
he asks like, why are you not afraid? That's what is, that's what is scaring him, that this guy is not afraid.
To answer, it's not just the responsibility of command that his father refers to, it's how fear and responsibility in general humbles and tempers an individual. Osiric's problem, as we saw throughout the chapter, is his lack of ability to think for himself and to reach conclusions at an adequate pace. He either thinks too hard or thinks too little. Or both. And, okay, let's be real here. Ursander is a little bit to blame for this, about his son disregard.
A little bit?
Just a little bit, okay, maybe more than a little bit.
He let this boy run around with Hunral with no supervision, let him go to the tavern every night, do whatever he wants for all his life. I mean, how is Ursander that dumb? He can read. Wait, please let me. He can read Hunral's like missives and his reports and look through it and find the truth that he's just fear mongering and all that. He knows that, and still doesn't he know how much Hunral is affecting Osirk every day? Every day, they're in the same house, right? It's not like he's some far off continent and they just visit once in a while. They're in the same house. They have dinner every night. and he still doesn't know the influence that Hunral has on Osirk. Even Kadaspala can pick it up. I mean, Kadaspala is, I shouldn't say even because Kadaspala is extremely smart, but an outsider like him can see for 2 days and think, Osirk, oh God, he just turned
Okay,
orange.
yeah. Sorry. Continue. Please go on. Sorry.
He's like, he can see and tell him that Osirk has been, that whole imagery of Urusander has built high walls, and Hundral is sitting there and digging to the bedrock, like disabling the foundations and all that. Osirk is going to crumble inward someday. That this is what is going to happen. Even Karaspala knows that, right? How can Urusander not know that? All this to say, my thesis that Urusander is the worst Dice father ever. Yeah.
I mean,
Sweet victory. Yeah.
anyway,
You're
and
just
yeah.
going to anyway all that.
I don't have a proper counter. Like, what the fuck do you want me to say? I mean, yeah, he's one of his
Oh,
major
yes,
things. Like,
agree.
he's a
Yeah,
horrible father.
yeah. True.
I'm not
No,
gonna
I thought
rank
you were
them.
going to disagree. Okay.
Why would I disagree? He is horrible.
No, I thought
That's
you
the
would say,
one
oh no,
thing.
Rake is worse. Oh no, Draconis is worse and all that. So,
Dracon is not a Dice father, and Drake is pretty bad. But like, this is like,
how Draconis is not
okay.
Dice? Yeah.
I mean,
He's adopted
I do
Dice.
think, and a man. What? Who?
Dice adjacent. Draconis.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, like, at least Draconis had some good kids, you know? Like, Zerg is awful. And the Zerg's kids
No,
are
that,
awful, you know?
no. See, if okay, please, we're just wasting time. Go on, please do the summary.
So yeah, as Niflrog once said, he is
Do
Lorik's grandpa. How good can he be? Yeah, sorry.
no,
So
don't
what
bring
made
Lorik the
what
amazing
made
here.
what made Zerg think that he would ever be given the Legion? And the obvious answer is Hunral's manipulation. Zerg only wanted to say what he wanted to say. And Sander proceeds to, as Morris said, deconstruct Hunral completely. It's glorious.
It's too little, too late. It's not glorious.
Okay, you're just like, okay. Look, I didn't say this when you were summarizing. I didn't shit on your character when you were summarizing. I didn't shit on
Not
Draconis
my
when you were.
character or your character.
I didn't shit on your like Draconis when you were summarizing. I didn't say anything.
Please do. I'm very sorry. Urusander is
So anyway.
amazing. He's awesome. He's glorious.
No, he's not. But
Please go
goddamn it,
on.
let me have this at least. Like, he does one good thing a chapter. At least let me have that.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, he
I'm so sorry.
so he deconstructs the fuck out of Ral. He and okay, we know this. Or Rusander knows this. What pays he's like he doesn't do anything about it, which okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to
But anyway,
comment. Yes.
Ral is an old noble that sniffs the Legion's heels for any scraps of power that he may find. He longs for a return to court, to power, to influence. He doesn't give a shit about the Legion or Herald Galen, no duh. But he thinks he does, because like most drunks rationalize, Hunral considers himself to be a genius after having deceived himself. An audience with Mother Dark, does he think Mother Dark is stupid? Yes.
No.
Anyway. So Zerg actually has a somewhat reasonable question. Who would inherit the Legion without him? And that word, inherit, this would cause yet another trait from his father. The Legion is not a family heirloom to be inherited. He goes on like along, like, is it a painting? Is it a mine? Is it like a keep? Is it a forge? What is it? Like, no, it's a standing army. It's not meant to be inherited.
The only standing army, right?
Command, he says, is terrifying. It is a privilege accorded to those who have deemed worthy of actually taking it on. And it's not a good thing. He, allegedly, wanted something better for his son. Okay, now you can go on talking about, like, how... Okay. Yeah.
No, it's your character. It's amazing. He's amazing.
Okay. I get sass for it, fine. It's whatever. Anyway, so Osirk goes off like a bitch. He goes off into his room, and he starts weeping. He sees in you the look in Renard's eye. Yes?
A guy is weeping, and this is how you just call him a bitch. Very sad. Where's your compassion, Lee?
Yeah.
Has Itkovian taught you nothing? Sorry. is never going to end. So Asad is crying.
I'm being mocked. Anyway, so
I'm
yeah,
not.
Osric starts crying. He sees a new look in Renar's eyes. Even a poor village girl took pity on the Lord's son. His father would keep him in wax as a reminder of his nostalgia, as a symbol of what Urzander once was, which is not, like, wrong. It's not entirely wrong, which is interesting. But, you know.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't think, like, the notion what he says is true, but, like, the underlying fact of, yeah, he didn't do anything for me. He just let me go with the horse and whatever, like, spend all my day in the tavern with some idiot who kept fighting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Oh, good. Okay. Oh,
Sorry, what
okay,
happened?
never mind.
What happened?
No, nothing. I think I clicked the wrong thing, but I didn't. It's fine. So, but Cirque is his own man, and he will leave to find his own destiny, his own wisdom, his own power. And this sounds so much like crybabies. Like, it's not necessarily bad what he's saying, but the way he says it and the context in the way he just says it just sounds so much like, oh my god, poor me, pity old me. Just whatever. It's okay.
Poor fellow.
No,
For
feel free
once,
to go.
he just
Yeah. He lead with a fucking
can't he do
child.
anything right? Can't he do anything right?
Anyway, he will be like an Amanda himself one day.
Oh, does he think that?
Yeah,
I
he
look
does
at
actually
that.
think that. Yeah. So
I
he
mean,
shall
to be
leave
fair,
World Galen and yeah,
to be fair, he was like Anomander one day.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Just with all the worst traits imaginable, but whatever. So yeah, he can almost hear Ursander's words schooling him, but he rejects this out of hand, even if Hunral lied to him. But none of this matters to him anymore because the Legion will march in Ursander's name, and he has surrendered has surrendered all choice in the matter, and changes are coming to us all.
change is
So for the
coming.
next few days, he is a bit okay. Look, Cirque is just he's stung. He's a bit of a brat. He's like whatever. He gears up. There's a bit of like a long paragraph of explaining where he finds weapons and where they all came from and all that. Like if you're interested, go read it. Basically, he gears up to leave Coral Galen, and he has an attitude of overall like, okay, things are happening in Coral Galen, and I don't give a shit anymore because my father doesn't like me and whatnot. And
You paint
he
him
moves to
so
this.
pathetically. Poor Asad. I mean, I read it as it was a bit sad for me when I read that. I felt bad for him.
I mean, it's not like I don't think you're meant to root for it. Like, it's not a good thing, but it's also like, dude, you're like the Lord's son. You could have had anything.
I don't know. I feel bad for it. That's all. I don't want to elaborate, but
You're clearly more compassionate than I am. So, moving on.
let's
Cirque saddles his warhorse. He goes off to ride off. He is almost apprehended by the gate guards, but he commands them to open the gate, and they comply for once. Out on the road, Cirque encounters a man with a dagger that accuses him of despoiling the girl. He has got knuckles, as though made by someone's teeth. When he goes for his knife, Cirque jumps and chokes the life out of him. So basically, immediately after, he rationalizes the whole thing that he must have killed Renar, must have beat her to death, but justice fell to him to deliver. Son of his father, he is. So as he rides away, and the rationalizations fall away, Cirque is actually horrified at his own actions of, holy shit, I just killed somebody. None of this was supposed to happen. The world was indifferent to him, his struggles, his plight, and now he knew that if he were to look down, he would see murder's own stain. The darkness was not enough to hide that. See, he gets a few cool parts. See?
he gets what?
That's a cool monologue. I'll give you that. That's a very cool monologue. And it is a pretty sad monologue. But
Yeah.
I don't care. Okay, moving on. So
There you go.
in the morning. No, yeah. Hi. In the morning, Serap arrives in Eretzor, and she finds a scene of murder investigation. She is taken aside by Sergeant Yell, the 9th Company, for a quick debriefing. A young man has been found dead, strangled, and left on the side of the road. And nobody seems to be particularly willing to actually try and hunt him down. They have a seer available, but nobody's called them. Anyway, the man has had his throat crushed by one hand. Yikes.
One hand.
And one hand. But not a good kind.
Oh God, no.
And though he tried to fight back, that availed him not. The man is Milik, who is Renar's beloved, and though Renar is Gurren's daughter, the old smith has no love at all for anything to do with the Legion. The two chief suspects for the murder are Gurren himself, who is renowned for his temper, he is very protective of his little girl, and the smith in town that nobody wants to lose, and the Zerk, who was incidentally riding on the very night. He hasn't returned since, and he has fresh horse tracks running away from the body. Yikes.
Oh, big mystery. Who could it be?
Yeah. Yeld's solution is to simply let the whole thing go cold. If they go after Gurren, neither option is good. If he's proven guilty, the town loses the smith, and if he's not, that leaves one suspect. Yikes. And if they go after a Zerk, that reflects terribly on Urisander, and so the perpetrator must need to escape justice. The family will be recompensed for the loss, but nobody will be indicted for the murder. There's just something ironic about the whole thing. Yeah, maybe.
Sad.
Serap rides away to Gurren's home. She knocks on the door, and she receives no reply. She swings around back to find Gurren, who understandably doesn't much like her, and he fills her in on the details. Renar's jaw and cheekbone were broken, and she's probably never going to see well through her left eye again. Which worked on her and healed most of the important ailments. She will live, but she won't be happy. So Gurren knows that a Zerk is behind the whole thing, and has purposely set off the rumors that it was him. He even goes as far as to say that he owes the boy. That said, he still despises the Legion. Yeah. That said, he still despises the Legion for taking away his wife. He despises Urisander for daring to grieve for a wife whose life he took away. He hates poets. Poets can go fuck themselves, which is excellent. Like, that's a quote. For daring to write about his grief. Not his grief, not Gurren's grief, but Urisander's grief. Chalice's death was his to bear, and Gurren is not in a mood to share, but he's dying, and he needs Renar taken care of, and Serap swears, with a Legion vow, that she will have Urisander take care of the girl, and Gurren seems to be somewhat happy for a change. And this is where I'll say that you'll need these.
What's that?
Because everything Gurren says is just heartbreak in a bottle. Like, god damn.
It was sad, but not that sad. No, go on. Sorry.
Following the scene, Serap arrives to the keep and speaks with Urisander. He seems distracted, which is a quality that Serap attributes to loss of weight. Alas, she is wrong, as Urisander springs the question on her immediately. Where are her cousins? He knows that Hunral has sent her, but to what end? So Serap tries to find her footing, and Urisander continues. Hunral would have the realm stirred and panicked, reinstitute the Legion, and coerce the Highborn, Dracones, and Mother Dark because his pride is wounded. So according to Urisander, old soldiers are like ghosts. They hunger for life, but all they have known all their lives is violence. In most individuals, an old soldier represents a symbol, either grief of past losses, resented obligations, or what have you, and for that, they must disappear. Old soldiers stand as ghosts, close to death, and can never truly leave its side. Now, that's a fucking cool monologue. It's also not great from a commander. It's like the exact opposite of morale. I think it's awesome. I think it's a great quote, but goddamn, that is not what you say in this situation. So Serap doesn't exactly know how to respond to those arguments. They're unpleasant. Like, she can see the truth behind them, but they're not pleasant or good when the realm is currently on the verge of a civil war. And so she offers the story given to her by Hunral. And Azathanai, who is invading from the Sea of Iter, is reconsecrating the temple in the name of the Shake River god with water dripping from the ceiling, an event which Urisander, perhaps rightly, calls an assault upon Mother Dark. So the High Priestess Sindara has been assailed and sullied in the eyes of Mother Dark with this Azathani, and she has requested sanctuary from the Legion. At which point, Rosanna dejects. Mother Dark isn't cruel. She would not cast out her chosen High Priestess like that without a good reason. Does Sintara actually believe that Rosander would grant her sanctuary? If what she carries has rendered her sullied in Mother Dark's eyes, what gives her the idea that he would give her the curse she bears protection? Have you all lost your minds?
Yes.
Sarah, all but pleads with him that Sindara is coming to him as a scholar to try and comprehend the condition, god damn it, try and comprehend the condition that has befallen her. Is it indeed a curse or a gift?
She keeps backtracking. Like each time he brings up an objection,
obviously,
she just backtracks and says, "Oh no, it's not really a curse; it's a gift."
Yeah, yes.
And go on.
Ursander doesn't bother with assembling. What happened to the Azathanai? Purportedly banished from the Dark, and where is Draconis? So as we know, Draconis doesn't get returned, but to Serap's assertion that he has raised an army, Ursander shuts it down. The concert is simply seeking consolidation in the face of being assaulted from every which way. Which is like, thank you. Thank you. Someone fucking said it at last. Ursander can actually tell that all of Serap's words have been twisted by Hunral for his own gain, and so she has to step back to more familiar grounds. The old faith of the Sheikh has been reawakened. The deniers are coming back. The cult of Mother Dark and Karkanas itself are in danger. Somehow. There's an invasion coming from the Vitter, with Sharenas and Gagamandra coming back to report to him personally. After Serap's report concludes, Ursander, in utter and complete silence, throws his chair across the room to crash violently against the table. Just stares at the wreckage, and he beckons her to continue in the most calm tone, go on. And so she does. There's rumors of deniers in basically every institution. Incidentally, every institution placed against the Legion. In the Wardens, in the Border Swords, in the Highborn, and in the Husk Legion. Mother Dark is in great peril, and the realm is facing a religious war. Ursander's Legion needs to be installed, and again, I'm going to say the obvious. The only people who are actually talking about religious war are these guys and the higher ranking Gandhi, like Sintara or Emerald. Nobody else. Fuck. When Silkcast brings up, holy shit, are they mad? Are they inviting a religious war? No, this isn't about a religious war. This is nothing like that. And then Sarah kind of no, there's totally religious, totes, dude, absolutely. Ursander's hot on her bullshit, but can see no real way through this. If Serap's words are true, which he's smart enough not to dismiss outright, because when you get two reports that, there's an invasion coming from the Vitter, maybe there's a chance that it's still real, and the realm is really in danger, and with Draconis gone, there's no telling what Mother Dark would do. He also knows, however, that Serap is arguably the only agent of Ral capable of manipulating magically. Risp is young, inexperienced, and filled with bloodlust, and Sevek can't think past her crotch. Start shaving.
There has to be one joke like this, right? There has to be one reference like this.
Yeah. So, Ursander, perhaps rightly, believes that Ral thinks him unmanned and dulled by inactivity. He concedes that maybe he's right, but he will not be the one to deliver civil war to Kurl Galain. And this is where I'll note that we know that Hunral is planning for there to be civil war. He knows it'll be civil war, and he's gone past that. Ursander's lagging behind.
Yeah.
So, if siding with Mother Dark means siding with Draconis, then so be it. If Mother Dark marries Draconis, the Highborn will turn on them, and if they do, the Legion will turn on them in turn, and so civil war. So that's why Mother Dark isn't actually marrying Draconis. For some reason, nobody can see that. It's esoteric knowledge. Those guys are fucking stupid. I don't know. Whatever. So it turns out that Ursander's the chair that Ursander broke in twain was a wedding gift.
Was it supposed to be?
What do you mean? Was supposed to be symbolism? Yeah.
No, I don't No, he says wedding gift, but I thought he was just talking something randomly while touching the chair pieces. That chair was supposed to be a wedding gift? I don't know.
Supposedly.
Okay, I didn't pick that up. Okay, thanks.
But yeah,
Right.
Serap all but tells the commander that he's needed again. He needs to marry Mother Dark because the Highborn would accept him. Which he said is ridiculous. And he knows it's ridiculous. And we know it's ridiculous. But, this is Gruul Galen. And, Anyway. Having calmed down a little, Ursander beckons Serap to walk with him and tell him of his son.
And he says something like, "This room is too close. I want to feel the sun on my face."
Oh, yeah. I want to feel the sun on my face, the light on my face.
See?
Yes.
You're not doing your, yeah.
Yeah, nice pickup. Good shit. Nice. So, a contingent of Legion soldiers arrive at Guren's home with the intention of killing Renar. At first, he's somewhat apprehensive of the whole idea, because, as we said, he really doesn't like the Legion. And Witch Hale is a competent enough healer on her own right, so if she couldn't heal Renar, no one can.
Can I?
Yeah?
What's the witch's name?
Hale.
I just liked it so much. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, of course, the healer witch
Sorry.
is Hale. Yeah, no shit. Yeah. Good catch. I didn't actually catch that. Yeah.
Go on.
So yeah, so Hale calls him out on it. In fact, I think he calls him a stubborn horse one. I don't remember, something like that. These healers have the null, and if anyone can heal Renar, it's them. So he allows them in, but he doesn't even entertain the idea that they could heal him because he's going to his wife.
Yeah, he says that like.
I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, but like, this touched me personally. I don't know if it touched you.
Did it? Oh no, it's okay. It was sad. I'm not saying it was not sad. That's all. But
you're made of stone. But yeah, his lungs are busted.
1 second. Did you just like 10 minutes back say that I have too much compassion or something?
Was it 10 minutes? It felt like longer, but yeah, I definitely did.
Sure.
But yeah, no. So Mora could give you a prognosis. I have no idea. I just guessed like he has a few months. Mora could probably give a better prognosis.
Of what? Oh God, let's not go into that.
Of how long? Anyway,
Who knows?
he's dying.
I
He's going
need
to his
all
wife.
the modern imaging tests and everything. How can I just?
Right. I mean, the guy's coughing up blood regularly, right? It's like he's not going to make it.
That is no indication. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
We need a stage. There is so much more to know. No, let's not.
Okay.
Please.
So, Guren is dying.
This is a place I'm not going to talk about stuff like this.
And though he knows Renar will grieve for him, he has now secured for her a future, something you couldn't have done before. And maybe, just maybe, Shellas would be happy for him now, what with her being under Legion protection. And there is like this quote about, heal me, my love, and the only way, and I just like fucking just start sobbing there. I'm sorry,
really?
it's just,
what did I miss?
I mean, what the fuck? Like, he thinks about his lungs, how they're like charred black, like they're black absences, and how he can't breathe properly.
Yeah.
And how like Shellas will come up to him and then just rip them out so he can breathe normally again. And oh my god, like, oh.
Was it? I am stone. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, so Guren actually notices Ursander right down from the keep to meet him. The Lord's eyes look sad, as they always did, and he hates that for the aforementioned reason of Ursander does not deserve to partake in Guren's grief. Shellas was his wife, after all, and the Lord could never have loved her as much as Guren did. He stills himself and meets the Lord eye to eye. Serap has made a legion vow, and he wants his girl taken care of. He blesses Usurk for what he's done, which does seem to grieve the Lord a bit further, but Ursander knows all this, and he extends an olive branch to the smith. Come to the keep to live out your final days with your daughter. Ursander will leave a smith for the village, as well as make sure all of Guren's tools are brought with him. He also offers to formally adopt Renar following her old man's death. After Guren agrees, a weight is visibly lifted from Ursander's shoulders, and the Lord asks Guren formally about how the water between them is. So, okay. Cool quote and all.
That is good. Finish that.
It is a really good quote, but the symbolism of water is very, very reminiscent of the faith of the river god. And
Okay.
the Taist are accusing the deniers of starting a religious war while making use of their own symbols. And like, what I'm getting at, these people are fucking idiots. Cool quote, though.
No. The
No?
thing is, we were under the impression that Triss came up with this thing in the last chapter, saying that I have understood the nature of water and at peace it is clear, and now we're going to stir it up and all that. I was going to credit all this to her, but apparently it's already a thing. Thais have been using this forever. So
Yes,
I don't know.
exactly. And who
Why
uses
does
it? The Leosin.
why does it matter about the river goddess or river god or anything? It's just
Because
an
like they're
expression.
accusing the guy, they're accusing them of stirring like religious war, and they're using their symbols and their traditions.
That's what happens, right? If you incorporate the old religion when you bring in a new
I'm
religion.
just pointing out the irony. That's all I'm doing.
Thank you. I'm going to shut up.
No. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And then he says, how is the water between us, Gurren? And he
Yeah.
says, the water is
The
clear.
water is
before
clear.
my Lord.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
in Sarah's eyes, Ursano has now been transformed. Neither father nor son would understand one another. And while that may sting, because certainly here, she could find comfort in the moment. Ursano has been reawakened to command, the Legion banner is flying once more, and Goldsmith has made peace with a guilt-ridden, heartbroken man.
What's the flag
But of
called?
course, this the color of the flag is called Leosin, which is
The
like this
Legion flag is called
cream
Leosin.
bleached, light, yay,
Right.
whatever.
So what predated what, This is what we should... Yeah, anyway.
So, of course, because this is Erickson writing, this is not to last. To close the chapter, we shift to Renar's POV.
And we have
She's
to
been
stir
healed.
the waters again. Everything
Yeah.
was clear, right? So now we have to stir it up.
Yep. So she wakes from her fever. Changes are coming because how could they not? Circus murdered the man she loved, and now Shrek's father was here to formally adopt her. Her dying father, who yet refuses to be healed. Milik is dead from a misunderstanding because he, in his blind rage, beat the snot out of his cousins for shaming Renar. Which, okay, there is like something to be said about Draconis, like whatever.
Draconis, what?
Anyway, my honor is not yours to be defended, but like Milik is being a stand-up guy, and he gets shit for it.
Society, don't get me started. Go on.
Okay, sorry. But anyway, her beloved is dead. She, could for a while couldn't see. Now she can't see properly. Everything seems impossibly clear. The witch got her story all wrong. Milik had gone in hiding, so she couldn't recommend his ideas. Renar's jaw was too broken for her to speak properly, and everybody misinterpreted her tale.
How did Renar get hurt?
She approached the guy while beating the fuck out of his cousins, and he just turned around and punched her in the face.
I have my doubts about that.
Really?
I do. She's broken her eye, cheekbone, and jaw.
– Big hand. She's like what? She's really young, no?
I mean,
really
he's
small face.
Assistant or something. Fine.
Yeah.
Maybe yes. But still, we don't know if it's all on the same side though.
He was also blind drunk, so there's no necessarily it wasn't one punch. Maybe he punched one of the ones accidentally.
Accidentally, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe. No, I just have my doubts about that. That's all. Because if you look at it another way, she did all this to escape his clutches. I mean, if you didn't have this POV, everything would have been clear. Why did we did not need this POV of Renar thinking about all this. But yeah. Anyway. Whatever. Yeah,
that's
go
all.
on. That's it.
I mean, yeah,
chapter is done.
That ends the chapter, yeah.
Yeah. Anything particular you want to bring up here, or shall we go to the discussion?
I mean, the entire goddamn chapter is very quotable. But... we have very different views on the matter. I don't know.
About what?
You just said okay, maybe he she tried to escape his clutch. Like, what exactly do you mean? Like, the whole point is that, like, she loves Milik so much that she's,
It it's possible she loves him, but also she went and purposely stood where Osir could come. She made sure that she was carrying a pebble, which would indicate that
or
she already has a boyfriend, or
or she
or
just went to the stream to have a bath and then would return, and then Osir came along.
yeah. But then she tells that because she has heard so much about him, she wanted to look upon him. Doesn't she say those
Sure,
words? I wanted to look upon you. She
sure,
could
but that
look
doesn't
upon
mean
him
like,
from anywhere.
yeah,
Why
I
did she
guess.
stand there holding the stone in hand? I shouldn't use the word. She's a child, but she made sure he saw her.
Okay, like, now who's being a rapeologist again? Like, are
Who's
we
doing
like,
it? I,
are we shaming
no,
Renar for like what the fuck?
I'm not
No,
shaming her. I'm
Osiric is being a
appreciating
creep.
her.
Is the
He's a
thing like he's being a
see.
creep?
He's a creep,
She
and she's
didn't
using that.
do.
She
I
knows
don't
that
think
he's a creep.
so.
She knows he's going to behave in this exact
I
manner,
don't. I
and she
don't believe
wanted
so.
this outcome. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think the ambiguity is the point. But I don't care. I'm not gonna believe that. I'm just
Yeah, because I'm
yeah.
not
No,
making
no,
any
no.
judgments here, but she is smart enough to have a plan like that and see it through. If she had a plan like that, if she wanted to escape Milik's clutches,
I
she
don't
could do
think
this.
so. Like,
Maybe
why
not,
though?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But can we just agree it's extremely misogynistic that her virginity is like built up so much? It's like Osir thinks whatever Milik was hoping for, he has stolen it,
Yeah,
and he pities the
yeah.
guy, and it's so stupid. It's so sick. Just wanted to bring that up. The ties are the worst. That's all I want to say. No, no comments.
I mean, I think I've made it abundantly clear by now that I really think the dice are the worst. So if that's in
Yeah.
contention, please let me know. But yeah, so that is an aside.
Yeah.
You may note that like our disagreements on Renar are going to continue throughout because like this character is not readable. You don't know what she thinks at any given time, and even when you do, it's not clear what she's thinking. So
It's amazing.
thank you for
Lots
listening.
of fun. Yeah. Thank you for your time, Lee. So
Thank you, Mora.
we'll probably see you in
God damn it.
the spoilers all discussion. Bye. Good
Yeah.
night.
See you there.